So I used to go to a meetup that was hosted. It's called like .NET Southwest, and it was like hosted by Just Eat. I used to go to that like all the time before I even did all of the meetups I do for business related reasons. But one of them, Jon Skeet's coming today, and I saw the email notification go out for it about half an hour after it officially went out, and it was already full. 90 people were going. I was on the waiting list, and 110 people were on the waiting list, which is mental. And today I got someone dropped out, and I got put in, so I must have been quite quick on the waiting list. So I'm really excited about that. Also, I'm heading into town. I'm going to meet up with my old boy, who actually lives really close to me, but he was like my busy mate at a job 2 jobs ago. Looking forward to that. I've been organising quite a lot of like stuff, you know, like tomorrow I'm out and about a lot. Next week I'm out and about, so I'm trying to organise some people to network with while I'm out and about, basically to make the most of that time. Otherwise, in about half an hour, I have a video meeting with someone who I started talking to on LinkedIn. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. They do like startup strategy stuff. And I kind of started talking to them as like, they reached out to me, but then I was like kind of saying that I've done some stuff around startup strategies with other people from a tech perspective, and said like it might be interesting to swap notes. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen in this video thing. I've never been to a video meeting thing before. That isn't a job interview, so I'm intrigued. Drafted today's email, and I'm going to start sending emails now. I'm going to send all my emails, have a cup of tea, and then get ready for that meeting thing. I'm really quite interested in seeing what this person has to say. This is like the first time I've gone into a meeting like this without really knowing what's going to go on, because I kind of kicked off the idea, but not really. She came to me, and usually I'm the driver. She more or less drove this meeting, so don't know. It's going to be interesting. We're gonna really intrigued. But it's another cold day. It's not quite as cold as it was yesterday, so I am getting myself a little hot water bowl, make myself a cup of tea beforehand to get myself all nice and toasty. Got whoa, steady on there, boy. Got lots of networking to do over the next couple of days, you know, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to say the least. Like I say, I'm meeting up with someone tonight. Lunchtime tomorrow, taking the car in tomorrow though, that's the main issue. I'm going to do a bit of work in the library tomorrow instead of my office, because I only get a limited number of hours for free in my office. So I'm just trying to figure out like kind of plans. Trying to maximise, sorry, I just heard might be voices, someone walking past outside. I'm just trying to like figure out how best to maximize my time, and I'm doing a lot of stuff that isn't programming as well at the moment, which is like quite impressive, because that's always the thing that I do the least of in general. I like to think that I spend about 50-50, but it's not. It's more like 60-40 split, you know. So yeah, I'm enjoying the variance. So there's that. I should probably get headphones actually for this, because she'll be able to hear herself coming through the speakers, won't she? That's not very profesh. Fascinating. So I was just talking to someone who they are trying to do kind of, which is kind of why I said we could swap notes to a certain extent, is they are trying to kind of find a problem and a solution for startups that are struggling to get kind of strategy sorted. Which is why she was talking to me, and I had just had an hour convo with her. It was really interesting. It's interesting to see. That was interesting to me for a number of reasons. She was doing things that I want to do, so I'm kind of getting help from her in general. But also I'm kind of like seeing how she does stuff. And there's a lot of things where I'm like, I know exactly why you just said that sentence. That sentence, literally verbatim, is in a book I've read. But yeah, she's trying to build and evaluate a framework that can be used to model a startup strategy, and that's interesting to me, because kind of to a certain extent I'm trying to do that with software projects on one of the things I'm doing. So yeah, it was really interesting to talk to her. I gave her a lot more than like I was kind of trying to get from me, but it's still really interesting. So yeah, she's gonna get back to me at the end of next week when she might have a thing set up. Words. So yeah, that was really interesting. But yeah, so we are potentially meeting up at some point in February. She's going to go through this framework she's been designing for me, she's going to go through it with me that she's been designing for herself. It's that weird like weather where it's not really raining, it's just like a wet mist, you know? I've had a similar... What was I going to say there? I finished all of the stuff I was going to do around the house. Did a little bit of programming, got my laptop ready for moving around town. My backpack is now ready to rock and roll for today and tomorrow. And I'm going to hit the road. I just need to figure out what to wear coat-wise, or whether or not to take an umbrella. I think I may as well take an umbrella. There's no weather forecast for rain though. I'm not going to bother. Right, so yeah, my plan is go into town. I'm going to go to my office, got some post to pick up, which is probably just spam. But I'll go to my office, pick up some post, and then I'm going to smash out a little bit of work, do some emails, and then I'm going to go meet up with my old mate, have a drink, go to this meetup. It's going to be sick. Sad part about going to my office, I think I've said this before, last time I was in there, I'm there just like sweating. It's so hot in there. And it's not hot there, it's just cold here. And I'm used to coldness here. Everyone else is walking around in like almost dressing up warm, like with hoodies on and stuff, you know, and jumpers. And I'm there in like a t-shirt, like cooking. I'll go to my office today, go to the library tomorrow. Is there anything else I feel like I'm forgetting something, I don't know what. It's been a while since I've been to this meetup. I'm really excited about going. It usually clashes with another one, which is a bit more like businessy focused, which is probably more valuable use of my time than things like this. But it's always been my fave. And it's going to be really interesting because the person doing it is super cool and like famous, you know, in the Sado developer community. Just had to run from wherever I get off the bus to here. It's about 3 stops difference, but I had to cut across town to get here because I left my scarf on the bus. The thing is, I didn't bring my umbrella because I'm like, there's not going to be the kind of rain that warrants one that like a normal hood wouldn't defend against, right? So now I'm like, oh, whenever I think I might have forgotten something, I'm thinking, oh, it's my umbrella, I didn't bring it. Except when it's a scarf. Not a problem, I got it again, but whew, I just had to run a real long way to get it. I'm always relatively surprised about how productive I can be there in my office. I'm like, fucking flew through 3 things, and I was expecting to maybe get 2 of them. And like the one I did get done was pretty freaking big as well, so Gucci. Alright then boys, I'm now trying to figure out what I am needing for today. Because today's an odd day, I'm going to town basically for all day. I'm going to be working in town, taking the car to go get its MOT. So basically I just need chargers and then I just need, yeah, alright. The talk yesterday was really good, it was really interesting. It was about like new features in C# 8, which was pretty cool. The talker, Jon Skeet, was sick. It was really long, it was an hour and a half, and I'm not used to going, I'm used to going to those things where effectively the talk, although I'm going predominantly for the talk, but like the whole event is like a networking event, you know? This is like, sit down boys, buckle up. It was like an hour and a half of just like constant content, you know? Otherwise, talking with my old boy from work for ages. We went for drinks beforehand, and then we obviously sat with each other in the thing, then bus back home together. It was wicked catching up with that boy. He's a good lad, I really like him. He's growing a questionable beard. Let's put it that way, it's very questionable, but we'll see. But yeah, I got back, had some food, went to bed quite late last night, woke up this morning, and we're off. It's not as cold as it's been. The cars haven't even frozen over outside, which is good. So I'm thinking that we can get away with a less wintry coat. Right then, boys, looks like I've got to set off. So let's wear my black shoes because they're waterproof. And I'm going to be doing a bit of walking around. But because I'm doing that walking around, I'm going to wear my summer coat. 6 degrees, 10% chance of rain though. It doesn't really matter to me, does it? Deciding whether or not to take umbrellas is always a big decision for me, you know? Because I like walking around, is the thing. What am I going to do? What's the plan, Jamie? You need to think of something soon. This coat and an umbrella? Or the other coat and no umbrella? I'm going to go for... Really disappointed, by the way. This, like, metal chain thing, which you normally hang up, has snapped. So, I can't hang it up like a normal coat anymore. Doing what I did yesterday, which is thick scarf, winter coat, no umbrella, because I'll lose it. 10% chance of like mist. You look like a dickhead with a massive umbrella when it's just misty rain, you know? Right, I really need to bounce. Shoes, let's go. Good lord, that was the like weirdest drive I've ever done. To get over it was like literally every back road ever, because there was like major accidents on all of the main roads. Also took the best part of 40 minutes, not the 20 to 30 minutes I thought it might, so, well. My plan now is to go find somewhere to go sit down and do some work. I can obviously go to my office, but there's only a certain amount of hours I get there for free, so I'm trying to avoid going there. At least for the morning, I'm going to go to the library. I think there's quite a good library in the city centre, which has quite a lot of like desk space to work in. So I'm going to go there for a little bit and then live the dream, basically, boys. I've got lots of emails to do. Lots of non-programming stuff to do, but there's so much of it, I might have to splice in some programming just to like keep me in a good mood, you know? We've got loads to do. Predominantly the most important thing is emails, but yeah, I've got like 3 relatively hard emails to write, you know? So, right, so I'm gonna do that. And also, you know, I was saying I'd try and go for like 50-50, programming and non-programming work. I'm already like 70% non-programming work this week because of like all the networking and stuff I was doing yesterday. Whew. I genuinely think that like libraries should try to do more to get people in that do freelance work, you know what I mean? Like if you can dedicate some space for like people to come with laptops or even computers and then just set up free Wi-Fi, like you're set. Try and capture the people, which obviously isn't an amazingly lucrative market, but try and capture the people who don't want to go to coffee shops to do work during the day, because they don't want to spend money on coffee. But then if they're there, they might buy one, you know? Like you get them in on the chance that they'll buy a coffee, rather than having to go somewhere you have to buy coffee to try and do a bit of work, you know? Now time, we're going to go and have a nice walk-in lunch, coffee catch up with someone I used to work with for a very brief period of time. He'd like, this is a job, 2 jobs ago, he kind of was in like a separate department and then kind of joined our department and team for a little bit and then left, like everyone else did. So have a nice catch up. Quite a productive morning in the old library. I've got drafts of all of the emails that I need to draft for today and 2 days time, and I'm currently drafting up basically someone responded to one of my emails saying I could send them some questions. I'm trying to like figure out what questions I most want the answer to, you know? Ideally I'd prefer to like meet with someone so I could kind of talk to them and then gauge and then kind of figure out from there what questions I most want the answers to. So I'm just trying to be very selective so I don't send over too many, you know? Gosh, it's hitting like 4 o'clock now. I'm gonna take a wander. I feel like I need a cup of tea. I've done so many emails. I am stepping away from the computer a little bit. Gonna walk across town, go to my office. Slowly walk across town though, because my fucking shoes hurt me. Slowly walk across town, go and get, go to my office, get myself a monitor and a drink, and then I'm gonna sit and do some programming. Oh man, some programming. Remember what I was saying about all the building work going on in Bristol? Look at all the cranes there, man. It's crazy. The advantage of my office is not only could I get a monitor, which is so useful. Indefinitely useful. But also I can have a cup of tea and like nurse it for ages. I always find that tea at coffee shops is always ludicrously expensive. There is no need for a cup of a tea bag and hot water to cost so much. But I also think it tastes really funny, you know? Like it's got like makes me feel sick after. And not in like the way that normal tea does, you know? So it's odd. But that's the main reason I'm going over here. And I can do with a walk as well. Although I did have a really good walk with my boy who I had lunch with, and then I had a nice walk with Laura as well. I met Laura for lunch. Just had like a walk-in talk with the guy I used to work with. That didn't count as lunch. And then I had an hour lunch with Laura. And yeah. Oh man, I feel like today's been a really long day and we're not even anywhere near the end yet. A little chunk of time was a little bit less productive, mainly because my computer was being slow. It took like 15 minutes to even like kind of get it up and running, which is annoying. But I've finished the chunk of work. Well, I'm 99% sure I've finished this story I was working on, and I'm now back on the bit where I've got to punt this information out into a function which can kick off some Docker containers. So I'm kind of back to there, but I now have all of the information I need in order to do it. So should be good fun. Looking forward to it. Living the dream. I do feel like a combination of today and yesterday. A combination of like how long today is and yesterday is like kind of burning me out a little bit. Like that's also why I feel like my productivity felt like it took a bit of a dive. Just 2 pretty long days next to each other, you know. And also Laura went to go pick up the car, and the car's not going to be ready till tomorrow. Fucking car. It's a pain in the ass, that car. Every year when we get it serviced, there's always something wrong with it. Fucking piece of shit. Anyway, I'm now going to another networking event. This is the second time I've been to one like this. It's what's it called? Southwest Test. Load of testers, automation testers, manual testers, BAs, product owners, that kind of shit. It's a really interesting crowd last time I went, and it's on a really interesting topic this time. So I'm interested, I'm excited. What I want to do is I want to go and find out whether or not these people, or some of the testers I talk to, feel like testing is valued where they are. That's my line of questioning to start some conversations with people, you know? So, oh god, I just kind of like, part of me cannot be fucked to talk to anyone though. That was a pretty interesting talk. There was one talk about, which was good, about safe and like some of the shortcomings of it and the problems people have and kind of how to mitigate them. The solution always comes down to talk more, literally always. The second one was less good, mainly because the presenter couldn't talk loudly. Like his voice just didn't carry across the room, and his slides were so small you couldn't even read them. But also because he'd like gone on his own and just designed something that no one needs. It's like a test orchestration framework. But I mean, I feel like there's a lot of room for disruption in the world of test. And I don't know whether or not that's me coming at it as a developer and being like, if you approach this like a developer, you get way better solutions way quicker. This is a lot of work to do something really simple. Anyway, that's something I'm toying with. I feel like testing is an area that I can excel in. I feel like there's something there, you know. I just got to figure out what it is. It's Friday! Friday! Fridays. I'm struggling today. Both me and Laura are both struggling a little bit. I mean, to be fair, this week's felt like a really long week. And it must feel way worse for Laura because she was at uni last weekend, so it was like 2 weeks glued together. But like, whew! Today I'm feeling it. I've been like really positive and productive all week. But like today it's like oh God. We've got to like be really like mindful about how I'm spending my time so that I don't like either drag myself further down or, you know what I mean? So I've drafted all of the emails I'm going to send. Well, I say that. The emails I'm definitely going to send today are all drafted and ready. I'm contemplating how to approach another one of which was kind of scheduled for last week. I was going to reach out to this company. But like something came up where that wouldn't really be appropriate. I'm kind of figuring out whether or not that thing's passed. So I'm like contemplating it. I'm gonna do a little bit of programming for a bit because I've done nothing but business admin stuff, and I want to get back into the world of Docker. Yeah, boy. So yeah, I feel like I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and have a think about how I'm going to approach this next set, or whether or not I should like delay it for another week. We'll see. I think it's worth half of it. Like half of it's worth it. I've got a good in, you know. That's enough of that. Otherwise, just trying to chip through the day, basically. Just trying to chip through the day, be as productive as possible. Living the dream. Google does a lot of like experiments to try and like get you to use your phone less. And I'm using one of them where it like puts little balls on your phone for like you using your phone. So each one of those balls shows us time where I have unlocked the phone. And like the longer you stay with the phone unlocked, the bigger the ball gets, basically. I'm not sure whether or not, and more balls obviously drop in every time you unlock it. And I'm not sure whether or not it's a good thing, because part of me is like it's good because I don't want any big balls. Because I got big balls yesterday when I was driving to I used my phone as a sat nav. I got like a huge clobber in the middle, and it looked shit. So, but part of me is like, I kind of want to fill it with lots of small balls, you know. And I kind of I'm like, oh, what does it look like now? Well, that's what it looks like. Obviously, that doesn't do it, but it's distracting. Yeah, it's just something that's been on my little nugget. Been looking into the logistics of how this is going to work, and it's complicated unless I just use builds. I feel like building the Docker room, I have so much. What I want effectively is the control that you get during building a Docker, and like I'm bastardizing the use of Docker to get where I am. I know that more than anyone, but what I effectively have is I have two different containers that need to be spun up at the same time and be able to talk to each other, or I have one container which is going to be heavily modified and then like relatively limited in how much control one thing has for another one, and I have to generate each one of those containers per pipeline, which sounds like a lot. Or I could just use multi-step builds to do what I want to do. I was hoping I'd be able to run the containers because the containers are cheaper to run than they are to build them all the time. I just don't know, lad. I don't know. It's lunchtime, so I feel like the quickest solution, the easiest solution, is to go to builds. And I feel like I'm going to do that. Even if this time it might not be the most cost effective, I can always change it later if I need to. It also might not scale as well either. It might not be as quick because the containers are naturally scalable, but the ACR isn't necessarily. I wonder if I could spin up a load of Docker containers that build images. What, my man, that is not a crazy idea, because that is like, got a hot water bottle. That isn't a crazy idea because that's effectively what I'm using the ACR as, but I could use a cheaper version of it, and all I have to do is shape a container that can do that, and all it really needs to do is get an image, and then the image, use a file that it'll have that I can give it. Create a container that can use a file that can auto-generate what I need it to generate. That might be a good idea. That might be the way, boys. Sandwich time. Fascinating. Emails sent. It's now time for a cup of tea. Refill of my... probably not actually refill of my hot water bottle, but a cup of tea, and then we can get back into some programming stuff. Trying to gain momentum again, you know, boys. Just trying to gain that momentum. It'll be really important I go for my walk later. It's another day, ladies and gentlemen. I went for my walk a bit earlier than normal to try and like gain that momentum. Didn't particularly work. So yesterday was a bit of a write-off. Today I've been looking at shaping these Docker images. I'm trying to get it to have the right credentials, which is being relatively problematic, and I'm not really sure why. All I know is like the same script is running with different, like it should be the same, but like for some reason it works in the Docker container in the cloud, but it doesn't work on the Docker container on my machine. And I'm assuming it's got something to do with the fact that it's a Docker container within a Docker container. Well, it's not. It's Docker within Docker. That might be my issue, but I'm not sure. I'm having fun. Is it? Yeah, I'm doing, it's Docker build, isn't it, where it's failing. So yeah, I'm struggling to, I can't access blob storage. I need to be able to access blob storage to download some data into the image. I was just thinking, in theory, I could download that beforehand. Oh, I'm gonna have to write that down. Otherwise, today we've been, I think I'm overcomplicating this a tad. I mean, to a certain extent, oh no, I'm not, am I? Because I won't have access to the Azure CLI in that image unless I build it properly. I have to install the Azure CLI, which I know how to do because I'm already doing it. Right, I've written that down. Although I'm assuming that I'm gonna enter the world where I need to upload stuff from the thing anyway. So I'm gonna have to solve the problem in the first place. But yeah, it might be a case of moving. It'd be a good idea to figure out if that is my problem anyway. But I feel like I'm gonna have to do the upload from within that file. So I'm gonna have to sort out the credentials at some point. We'll figure it out. It's an idea. Otherwise today, stuff. That's about it really, to be honest. That's what I've been focusing on. It's gonna bug me now. I've thought about it before going to bed because I kind of want to try it, but it's fine. I've written it down. All right, let's go to, also we have a candle here. This boik is, Dad got us a load of like candles for Christmas, but a lot of them are Christmas themed. So we're like going through the most Christmas themed ones, you know, while it's still like winter. Because like in summer, you can't really light, oh no, they aren't so bad. Oh no, evergreen pine in summer, you know? So we're trying to like do all the things. That's hot cocoa and something else. And it's the strongest candle I've ever smelled in my entire life. Like the whole downstairs smells like a bakery. It's like pretty nice the further away you are from it, you know what I mean? Like, if you're too close to it, it's really sickly, but like as it wafts through, you're like, someone baking cookies. Another day, another dollar, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to end the video here. Today I was spent predominantly doing research for a meeting I've got on Wednesday. It's quite a, I'll talk about it in the next couple of days, in the next video, but it's quite a like daunting meeting. I'm kind of a bit in it at the deep end, a little bit. So I was mainly doing that, but I was also doing quite a lot of Docker stuff, trying to get my Docker images working. I've got it working with credentials on my laptop. I've got to make sure it works on Atlas. I'm not really sure it will. I don't think I changed anything, and then it just worked on Atlas, on my laptop, because it was downstairs with the fire on. Played a game of Formula 1, finished a race. That was pretty sick. But yeah, otherwise the Docker container thing is mostly working. I've got to like parameterize a couple of stuff. I cut some corners to make it work in places. And now it's just a case of uncutting those corners so that basically I cut the corners so I knew where the problem was, you know what I mean? And now I know where the problem was. I was able to fix it, identify the problem, fix it, and now I can re-uncut those corners, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, otherwise that's it. I am going to end this video here and at some point put these onto the camera, onto my computer and catch up because it's like nearly the end of January and the vlogs are still in December. Maybe even November. No, they're in December. Right, cool. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you later. I should actually also say, the next week, this week coming, is going to be an exciting week. And the week after that is going to be pretty exciting as well, I think. This week, moving on into the weekend, is going to be cool. So I'll catch you later.